I need to add that to the itinerary. Press record, Trevor. Hello, everybody, and please join me, along with a few of my other friends, in the Week 2 Fantasy Football Tree Fitty podcast. It is me, D-Rob Sr., D-Rock Derek, as your host, and unfortunately, I have some bad news to start out this podcast. You may want to take a seat, but my former sidekick, I will not mention names for legal issues, is no longer with us at this point in time to join us at the podcast because he, from what I understand, is really good friends with Colin Coward, and he could be joining a different network. Now, that's in a negotiation right now. In that meantime, he has been suspended from the podcast for lack of attendance. So while he's going through that, I will bring in my co-host for this week, and he is no other than my brother from the same mother, Dustin Robinson.
Yeah, old D-Rob Jr. and D-Rob Jr. and D-Rob Sr. in the same podcast. What do you know?
We're back and better than ever.
Don't do that. I don't like the Mike and Mike stuff.
Don't steal it. Okay. How about we've never laughed and we're not that good anymore?
That sounds great.
Okay, good. So how's it going, baby?
It's going pretty well. I'm actually writing a contract for a house as we speak. So let's see how well we do the podcast. Well,
hopefully you pay attention better than what Trevor did. This is the second recording. Trevor forgot to press record on our other one. So this is going out in hour 4.
That doesn't sound like Trevor.
Yeah, that's not Trevor at all. Hopefully he's awake at this point in time. But we'll go ahead and get started with this if you want to. If we want to briefly just do a quick overview of last week's games. And you know what? I'll go ahead and let you start it off.
Trevor fell asleep.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Pick the first game. Which one do you want to review?
Yeah, let's start with my own.
Well, that's okay. Go for it.
All right. Well, in this league and in my dynasty league, I was facing the big bad commish, old Kyle Stansberry, and I got a victory in both leagues. So it was a pretty good week for me, and I'm very satisfied with what my team did. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised about Jason Witten, and very excited going forward now that Dez Bryant is hurt.
Yeah, let's not mention that right now. But yeah, you did beat him. He really didn't have too great of a games out of anyone. Randall Cobb was pedestrian. T.Y. Hilton was not his normal self from last year. He did get a lot out of Carlos Hyde, which is to be expected, I believe, from him. But other than that, he didn't have anybody show up. You had some consistency pretty much all across the board. Brandon Cooks didn't do much for you. But with Forte and Charles doing what they should do, Charles maybe just a little bit under, and Jason Witten going above and beyond, you're free and clear with 143 points. So you had a little bit of room to spare.
Here's what I'm wondering with Kyle. If you're going to draft Marcus Mariota, why did you not start him? Why did you start Blake Bortles?
Yeah, I don't know why you would go with something that still hasn't been proven, even with a crap team, against someone who still isn't proven. But it's his first start. I think he'll probably start him next week. I mean, you almost have to, right? He had a really good week 1. Mariota did, so we'll see what he does with him. But if I was him, I definitely would start Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, there's no way he's not. Kyle loves his rookies, and that's why I was surprised he didn't start him in the first place. So,
well, he was indisposed a lot, so maybe he just wasn't thinking clearly.
What does that mean?
Were you not a part of that text message where Danny wanted to change everything to a different type of milk?
Oh, okay, yes.
Welcome to the podcast. Do we need to start all over? Are you with us?
No, I'm here.
Okay. No, you're not. You're writing contracts. So I'll just move on to the next one. And I want to talk about this one right here. It's probably the most devastating loss of the week, if you ask me. And that's Plain White Milk, who lost to isn't as good as chocolate milk. Sanjay and Justin.
That was a pretty good matchup, and all the shit trash talking that was going on at the draft. Justin, I know, wanted that win, and so did Sanjay, and Sanjay came out with it. So
Sanjay came out with a bang. For one, Keenan Allen had almost a career night, which is amazing. 15 receptions for 166 yards. So on 17 targets. So he almost caught everything that was thrown to him, which is unreal. He did really well. DeAndre Hopkins played really well, which you expected. Kendall Wright actually played really well as well. 25 points. He's not going to get that from him consistently. Keenan Allen, same way with 33. That's crazy. Justin got at the short end of the stick here once again with someone that beats him, and he has the second highest score in the league for week one, should I say, with 151, but Sanjay tops him with 167. So that's a. Is there such thing as a good loss? I'm not too sure. He scored a lot of points, which is going to matter towards the end of the year, especially depending on what his record shows.
Yeah, ouch. And was there anybody he could start to make a difference? I don't think so.
No, I mean, Alfred Blue putting up a little 5 spot didn't help at all. He may have expected a little bit more out of Matt Ryan as well. He only got him 18, but there's really not much more he could have done. He played well as a coach. I mean, the Redskins quarterback got him 8, and then Giovanni Bernard got 14. You could probably put him in the spot, but that's only 9 more points. It's not enough to still beat Sanjay. So
I think if you're Sanjay, there's 2 things that you need to be scared about. One is Greg Olsen only 2 points. I mean, he's pretty much the only target there, and only to get 2 points against a team like Jacksonville. And for how much money he spent on him, that's just kind of scary. And then Demaryius Thomas, only 13 points. Peyton Manning looked pretty bad. And I know he spent a lot of money on Demaryius as well. So those 2 things right there, I would be worried if I was Sanjay.
Yeah. Carolina's not good. I mean, we'll just put it, plain and simple. They're not good at all. I think they may be worse than the Browns this year, which is saying a lot.
They're like plain white milk. Just not that good. Not as good as chocolate milk, apparently.
Not in week 1, he wasn't. What other one you want to touch on here?
We go to the Emott, Crevin Emott, and the name has changed now. It's no milk equals utter failure. The pun is pretty good there. So, Amit ended up taking down Chris and Kevin. And it was a pretty good matchup. Amit actually had pretty good numbers across the board, and Chris brought with Tom Brady what was the leading scorer, but after that didn't have much.
Yeah, I mean, he got 0 from D-Jack, so that really hurt him. Yeah, that hurt him. So, I mean, even Steve Smith Sr., which he's old, right? So I don't expect him to get too much, but the 0 spot really hurt him on that. Yeah, me, just consistency. Like, I would take that 127 points. I would take that every week, but 17, 17, 18, 10, 16. I mean, if you could get that from your players, maybe if hopefully one of them picks up just a handful more points, like, you're going to be in the running for winning, every week. So I'm just proud of Kevin and Chris's team for scoring over 100 points, and I really can't say much to that either, since mine didn't score a lot last year, but it is good to see that happened.
Well, looking at Chris's team also, I do see some injuries going up and down the list there, which is going to be a concern for them in the future, especially considering they don't get Le'Veon Bell back until week 3, so they might be struggling for starts just even this week.
Yeah, he may have to adjust his lineup here just a tad bit, but I mean, he did have Stevie Johnson that got him 20 points there that he had on his bench, which wouldn't have been enough if he started him, but still you got that option there, which is always nice to have. Now, what's crazy about that is that Keenan Allen did get what I say it was a 33 or 32, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's 50 plus points between just 2 players on San Diego's team for wideouts, which is a bit crazy. You don't see that a lot.
It's a bit absurd. Philip Charger, your boy, had a good game. So.
He's looking good. Which we'll move on. We'll go ahead and move to mine here real quick. And I beat Trevor 132 to 104. It really wasn't close ever. He got a really good performance out of Kelsey, which was amazing. He had 6 targets, 6 receptions, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's a career night right there. That's going to get him paid for the rest of his life because he won't do it again. But other than that, he got no one that did anything.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian Peterson, what a disappointment on Monday night. I mean, I kept seeing the commercial with him coming out of the locker room with the smoke, and I was getting excited, and then nothing. I mean, he played awful.
Yeah, Minnesota didn't look good as a whole, really. But, I mean, he should be okay. Trevor, we all like Coors Light if you want. I think everyone likes that, maybe even Bud Light. Because you're going to be dead last in the league this year, man, unless you make some good moves.
Oh.
That's what I think. Now, I may be right behind him because I got everybody that's on my team is injured. I lost Des Bryant for the next 12 years. And, Arian Foster will be coming back in a couple weeks. Gurley may be coming back next week. And Brandon LaFell, I don't even know when he's coming back. So, got a lot of injuries.
Well, this is not a dynasty league. You didn't lose him for the next 12 years. You only have him for this year. We don't do keepers. This is plain white milk league.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we'll have to explain or go over that plain white milk thing. Maybe we can get the owner of that thing in here just a little bit, and he can explain why he has that name, and we can discuss that later on down the road. But choose the next game here. I think we only got a couple more.
I believe we only have one more. Or maybe we have 2.
No, we got 2. We got Chad and Ryan's and Danny and Dustin Strangers.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, let's talk about Danny and Dustin's then, because I love just making fun of Danny as much as possible. So Sammy Watkins on Strange's team, 0 points. What happened there?
I actually think that, from what I heard, is he had on the wrong size shoes for this game, so he couldn't do what he wanted to do out on the field because his toes were crunched up.
I'm going to need Strange to fact check that one for us. That does not sound believable. But yeah,
everything Derek says is a lie.
But
if you want to talk about feet, while we're talking about this game, let's talk about your boy Trevor, Adam Vinatieri, getting 0 points. How is that possible for a kicker?
Because he only had 1 kick attempt, and it was for 50-plus yards, and he missed.
Danny's got 17 points.
Well, there was a difference.
Yes, and then some.
Yeah, well, this is the lowest scoring total between both teams for this week. Not by much, but it was, so that's that.
If I told you, if I gave you this option, if I said, I'll give you Golden Tate and Devontae Adams, you give me Calvin Johnson and Odell Beckham Jr., and you would say Devontae Adams and Golden Tate had more, would you ever believe that?
Yes, I would. No, probably not. It's unfathomable.
Yeah, I think this just might have been a week 1 fluke almost on the receivers playing that bad for Danny.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you that really the receivers as a whole for week 1 was really underwhelmed. It was either NFL Live or maybe Mike and Mike this morning or something, where they said that tight ends caught like over 75% of the touchdowns this week, which was an all-time league high. The tight ends did.
Again, we're going to need this fact to be checked because 75% of all the touchdowns is quite a bit of touchdowns going to tight ends. That's
my point. It was a baffling stat. It was unreal. It boggled my mind. But that's what I'm saying. So, so these numbers are kind of – I wouldn't look into them too much as far as the receivers, just as of yet. But your big-name receivers did have a down day. And with that being said – with Calvin Johnson and Odell Beckham having 14 total points, that's not going to happen probably for the rest of the year, barring any injuries. So,
yeah, and so that's good for Danny. He gets a win, and his 2, best players had probably their worst weeks. So.
Right. Well, let's move on to the last one here, right quick. It's between Chad and Ryan. I will say that Chad finally knows what it feels like to have Julio Jones on your team. It feels quite well. when he
It's a
gets you
beautiful
37
thing.
fantasy points, which is at the highest for this week. As far as fantasy players, I think it is.
Yeah, if it isn't, it's very close to the top.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But when you get 11 targets, 9 receptions for 141 yards and a couple of touchdowns, not including the 4 holding calls that were on screens, that's probably he'd be closer to maybe the 170 mark. It's crazy. He had a really good week, and that's not saying that's what sent him over. But when you look at the rest of his team, Austin, Severian, Jenkins, I don't even know what
That's his boy.
that is. He was on that train early, and he did well for him as well. And Ryan just didn't have that big game or games out of anyone, so that was pretty much the difference. Chad scored 143 points, which was, what, 4th highest for this week, I think it was. So,
Well, to go back to the Julio Jones and those holding calls, I watched that game. Those calls were pretty bogus. I'm trying to not be biased because I had him in another league, but they look pretty bogus to me. And actually, there was a lot of bad calls in that game, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, it could be, and your opinion's your opinion, but it sucks. It's stupid.
It's a hot take, okay? I got the hot take.
Oh, okay. Now, Chad may want to worry here that Julio is questionable at this point, so we'll see if he plays, which he probably will. Julio plays through injuries pretty well for a wide receiver.
Yeah, and looking at Ryan's team, he had a decent week, I guess, and then if you just look at Peyton Manning, and 1 point, I don't think Peyton Manning's ever had a game that bad.
I'm going to need that stat looked up. Never that bad as Peyton Manning.
I don't sound like that.
That's how you sound. Peyton did play pretty bad. 1 point, it's not good. It's not what you depend on. Now, I'll touch on it later. There is someone else that he could have started. I'm not saying that I would have, but he could have started, and it would have made a difference in the outcome of the game, oddly enough. So, but that's it for just this brief, not brief overview. But what I want to do right now is I want to bring in our special guest. He is our reigning and defending Fitty fantasy football champion. Calls himself Humble Pie. I think that's a lie. It's Justin King.
Yeah.
Yay, Justin King, who needs to be unmuted. Unmute him, Trevor.
Hello.
There you go. What's going on, man?
Not anymore. I'm plain white milk, remember?
You're plain white milk with humble pie. That sounds like a great dessert.
It sounds pretty delicious.
Okay, moving on. So how's it going, man?
That's going great, man. I took a bad loss this week, but I still feel good about my team, and all you have to do is be about 7-6 in this league, or 8-5 to get in the playoffs. So hopefully, I can start winning some games starting this week.
Where are you coming up with these numbers?
What's that?
Where are you coming up with this 7-6 number at? I mean, wow.
I said 7-6 or 8-5. Well, I did a little research this week. I was just looking at some league history and seeing a lot of 8-5 teams that won the championship. So 7-6 could get you in the playoffs. 8-5 definitely does.
So that's the target line, 8-5.
Yeah, that's the Trevor line. Actually, Trevor is 8-5 pretty much every year since he's been in the league. So we'll just call it the Trevor line from now on.
Well, he's not making that this year. So
based on what?
Just based on his team. His team's crap.
Not very nice of you.
Well, it's the truth. It's crap. It's all crap. Right. So he needs to be like team waiver wire here and pick up a lot of people.
Well, at this particular point in time, he is 0-1, but I think that his team is trending upwards.
I see what you did there, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. You may sit in timeout. But that's cool, man. We're gonna go ahead, and you may have an opinion on this, Justin. Dustin, being you were brought in late to the game with that unsaid person suspension of the podcast. We do have weekly and overall power rankings, but being this is the first week, they're one and the same. I'll go ahead and go from 12-1 here on the power rankings. And do you have your own, Dustin?
I do not. Was
Okay, well,
banking on
good.
you guys having it.
Okay, well, we'll just go over it real quick. We'll make up some time here. At 12, this is between me and that said person earlier. We did our power rankings and individually, and then we combined them. And this is a combination. So at 12, we have Trevor, simply because he had the lowest points and he also had a loss. Then we had a tie at the 10 spot, which is Chris and Dustin Strange. At 9, we have Ryan. At 8, we have Kyle. At 7, we have myself. Tied for 5th, we have Amit and Danny.
You know, Danny is pretty average.
Yeah, that's what his wife says anyways. At 4, we have Chad. Oops. Yeah, that guy. At 3, we have Justin. And tied for 1st, we actually have Sanjay and Dustin Robinson.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so that's the top one there. Now, for me, I had Sanjay, and for the second one, or for second place, I had a tie between you, Dustin, and Chad. Now, Chad had you, Dustin, first, and he had Sanjay second. So, so the points just kind of played out where there were some ties and stuff in there. So that's why there was 2 ties for 5th and 10th and 1st. But yeah, those are the weekly rankings. Those will obviously change week to week. So we'll see how the future holds out here.
I'm not going to jump the gun or anything, but last year I did start 3-0, and I was at the top of the rankings last year. So, and we all know how that ended, very poorly. So I'm going to work extra hard this year to make sure none of my players get hurt like they did last year.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you're going to do that, but good luck. Justin, do you have any qualms over the top 12 here for power rankings?
No, I think it's fairly early, so I don't really have any disputes one way or the other. I think that you guys did it appropriately for now. I think you'll get a better feel of what each team is capable of or what they're ranked as the year goes along.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, I'm sure some people are going to want to make the move up. But, next week, if everyone who lost wins, which I don't know if that's possible or not because I haven't looked at the week 2 matchups yet, but if they do that, then it's just a tie for 1st.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see what happens because you never know what's going to happen. This is the world of fantasy football.
We need you to have a hot take, though.
Need a hot take?
It's all about the hot takes.
Or a hot cake?
No, hot take. If it was hot cake, we would have plain white milk with it.
That does sound delicious right now. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a very quick break. Let everyone gather their thoughts. I'll try to stop saying and we'll just move on to the next segment. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Apparently we have lost Derek and our sponsorship for the week.
Hey, no sponsorship this week because we are poor. No one wants to give to us. We need more views, more likes. So I'm going to need Trevor to work on that. So let's go ahead and talk about week 2 matchups.
I said, why do we go on commercial break then?
We didn't. I just said we're going to take a break.
Okay.
There's a difference. One's without commercials.
Hey, look, I'm the amateur here, okay? So I'm sorry.
No. You're going to be fired. You're a terrible, terrible intern. You're going to be fired. Week 2 matchups. We'll go over those here. There's a lot of people who are going to be looking to go 2-0. And I would like to talk about that because there's really only one team that is 1-0 that are facing each other this week.
Who could that be?
That is me and you, and you're going down like a sweet muffin.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And that line is so old, I fell off my dinosaur the last time I heard it.
Do you have a dinosaur?
I did. That's how old it is. It was a long time ago.
Okay, good. Someone stop clicking the damn cricket. Anyways, so yeah, me and you were playing each other. I got a lot of injuries. I lost Des Bryant, but I did pick up some people. Hopefully that with the combination of everyone, they can equal what Des Bryant would normally do. And if that's the case, going off of what some of my players did last week, like Heath Miller and Bishop Sankey, I should be okay. I have no fear in playing your team. Forte's playing a very good defense in Arizona, so I'm just not too worried about that. I think he's going to put you up about 10 or less points.
Well, I'm just wondering how in the world I got Darren Sproles after his great performance off the waiver wire.
What number were you?
Well, if we're going off standings and everything else, I was probably 10.
I don't know. I was in for him, but I was dead last on the waiver wire.
And why is that? Why were you dead last?
Well, see, what had happened is that I was trying to be a funny guy and just to pick someone up off of the waiver wire before we actually could for a couple of reasons. A, like I said, I was trying to be a funny guy, and B, I didn't know if it actually let you do it or not. And being that it did, and Kyle caught it, he replaced everything, but the system still seen it as me with a transaction and put me down very last. So I guess the joke was on me in the end.
Yeah, the thing is Kyle is the commissioner, and he could have changed you back. So this is like we need to start calling him Kyle Goodell. You know, he just doing everything he wants to do. The big bad commish.
I mean, it's his league, but I mean, he'll let someone else run it if they want to run it. But you know, he's fine with it either way, I think.
Now, Justin,
hey, are girls allowed next year?
Yes.
I mean, either way, it's fine. I just wanted to know.
Justin, what do you think about our matchup? Like, since you have two people that are biased to their own teams, go ahead and give an unbiased opinion.
My unbiased opinion is that Dustin is going to absolutely throttle you this week. It's not even going to be close. He's going to win by at least 30, and I would really like to have a gentleman's bet on your whole prediction that Matt Forte gets 10 or less, because that's absolutely not going to happen.
Well, we'll do a dollar for dollar. So if it's 30, we'll make the line 30.5 that I lose by, and I'll take the under, and you take the over.
I want the under on this.
Okay. And then we'll set the line at 9.5 for Forte on points. You can take the under, or you'll take the over, and I'll take the under.
Absolutely, and thank you for the $2.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure we're going to split, and I'll go ahead and take the win and just give you the money for Forte.
What are you winning with? Are you winning with Jermaine?
I'm winning with consistency and great coaching and really in-depth analytic stuff. I can't think of the words I want to use right now.
Words right now. You've got Jermaine Kearse and Nate Washington in your starting lineup. That's all that needs to be said. You're done, son.
Jermaine Kearse had a really good week last week.
Okay, you're done, son.
He had 15 points. That was more than Des Bryant, and I still won. Nate Washington had a good week last week, 18 points. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Who are these guys? These are up-and-comers. And by the way, my whole bold prediction for someone, CJ2K, I think he had a really good week last week as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I think I'm on to something.
Okay. He actually might start, too, because Andre Ellington is having some injury issues and is doubtful for this week. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, but
I can't say that I told you so, but I'll go ahead and wait for what we bet on, and then I'll say I told you so.
Well, he's no longer known as CJ2K. It's CJ No K. Okay, guy? Get it right.
He didn't rush for 2,000 yards ever?
He's not ever going to do it again. He's CJ No K. He will not run for 1,000 yards this year.
You can't call him CJ No K because he did have a 2K.
He's not going to run for 1,000 yards this year.
He's what?
So we already have a bet on this. You said that he will have over 1,000 yards this year rushing if he has the most carries on the team. And
That's right, and he will.
Bobby, I want to ask you a question.
Okay, you just did. So moving on.
Do you understand that your bench is not like an IR spot?
It's not?
No, like you can put actual players who are playing on your bench. You don't have to just put it for just like injured players.
Can I start them all?
Well, as long as they're not injured, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't start 7 wide receivers. So if they're on the bench and I scored many points, go ahead and sit there if you're hurt, because I'm not going to start you right now.
Oh, I'm just reading all the outs on your bench there.
But if you look at it, it looks like poo.
It does look like poo. Let's move on.
Moving on. We'll go ahead and talk about Kyle and Trevor here real quick. It has Trevor. I know you can't look at predictions, but or as far as projected totals, but we all do. Let's not play around. It kind of gives us a little confidence or non-confidence, depending on the way you look at it. But it has Trevor winning, which I probably will agree with that. I don't think AP is going to have a down week. They're playing Detroit, who's crap. Hopefully Kelsey can keep it up a little bit. Brandon Marshall may have play a little bit better. My thing is LaShawn McCoy. I don't know what he's going to do with that. I don't know if that offense fits him very well, but I do think Trevor wins.
Here's what I don't understand when you're looking like the quick box scores and the projected totals. Like it says the line is minus 1.3.
Right.
But then it says projected total, and there's like a 22-point difference.
Yep.
I was looking at that, confused myself. I didn't want to seem stupid, though. I'd be like, that's not how a line works.
No, it's not. And we're professional bettors around here. Gamblers Anonymous. Go join the group. We know how it works.
Yeah, none of these are legit.
How are you going to tell us to go join a group when you don't tell us where to go join it at?
I can send you an invite if you want, but you don't.
I don't personally want one, but you can't just say I'm going to send you an invite. Like the people that outside this group, which is probably no one that listens to this,
sure,
maybe they can join it.
Well, then they can find me on Facebook, and I will send them an invite.
Okay, that's Dustin Strange, everyone.
We'll put it in the comment section of the YouTube video. How about that?
Okay, perfect. Trevor, you do that. So,
but I'm actually going. You know, I like Kyle in this matchup. Trevor's got a big hill to climb the rest of the season. He might go defeated this year.
I'd bet $1 against that.
Well, go join the Gamblers Anonymous group, and we'll see.
I don't need to join it. I'm a founding member. I'm like a founding father.
That's a good point. You and Danny. Who you got, Justin?
I'm actually going to agree with Dustin and go with Kyle as well. I do disagree. Trevor's obviously not going to go defeated all year. That's a little ridiculous, but I do think that Hyde's going to keep on doing with what he did last week, and then also I think Cobb's going to have a pretty big game. The only way I would go against that is if something happens, T.Y. Hilton doesn't play at all, which it hasn't. I guess he's still questionable right now, but I'm actually going to pick Kyle to win, probably like about 10 or 15.
Well, that's intriguing stuff there. I'm glad you really brought your A game. I like me today, which I don't do that because I like to make everyone else look a little bit better.
Nice of you.
It is. So let's move on to the next one. We'll go with the guy who's no longer, is in negotiation of his contract right now with this network or maybe another one, versus Dustin Strange. And, I think Dustin Strange is going to win. I think he gets his first win of the year. I think Aaron Rodgers goes berserko. I think DeMarco actually goes berserko as well because he's playing Dallas. Golden Tate will have him one. Sammy Watkins will have him one. Pretty much your whole team is going to do really well. Adam Vinatieri finally put some points on the board for you as well. So I think you win by 10-plus points.
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I like Chad's team because when you got Julio, you're never out of it, and you're probably most likely going to win. Andrew Luck's not going to have as bad a game as he had last week. He's facing the Jets this week, but it's just not going to be as bad as it was last week. So I'm going to go with Chad. Justin, what do you think?
Again, I'm going to agree with Dustin. I believe that Chad's actually going to win the matchup based on the fact that he does have Julio, and Nelson Aguilar and Eddie Royal had really bad weeks last week, so I don't think they're going to repeat that again, and Chad still won. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Chad right here in this matchup. I think it'll be by about 20 to 25.
None of your matchups have been close, which is baffling to me. You're 20 points, 25 points.
We're only
the under on
39 points is what you're going to lose by, Derek. You're going to lose by a lot. 39 is going to happen right here.
Strange, what do you think about your matchup?
I don't necessarily love any of my fantasy teams this year. Like, all of my college players get hurt. Things just went wrong in the Dynasty League, and then this league. Like, I'm cheering for DeMarco in one league and hoping he doesn't score in the other, and obviously that's not possible. But I would definitely take the under on Justin's line there, but I don't really have a whole lot of faith in my team.
Well, I'm glad I have more faith in your team than you do.
Maybe the Angels can help me this year.
Maybe so. Maybe they could fall from heaven and fall upon you. But that has a really bad kickback on it because you'll do really well for 3 to 4 weeks, and then you'll just go straight to hell after that. So, but moving on to better places, let's talk about Ryan and Danny's matchup. I think this will probably be the closest one of the week for our matchups because there's a lot of good players on both teams that underperformed in the week prior. So, granted, Danny got a win, but I mean, like we stated earlier, Odell Beckham and Calvin Johnson combined for 14 points. Don't think that's going to happen again. We can't really remember exactly what Ryan's people did the week before, although he did lose to Chad. I know they didn't score a lot, but, I mean, Amari Cooper didn't play well. It probably had something to do with his head getting rammed into his own helmet. But I think this one will be closer, but with Danny pulling out the win, again, going 2-0 to start the season.
I hate to say this, but I'm going against you again. I definitely think Ryan's going to win this week.
You're just doing this on purpose.
I'm not even doing it on purpose.
You're fired as an intern.
No, I'm not fired. I'm still here. But I just think that overall he has. Okay, I just think overall he has the better team. Obviously, Odell Beckham and Calvin Johnson would have to have better weeks. But I do not like Ryan, or do not like Danny's running back situation. Latavius Murray, Ryan Matthews, Tevin Coleman. All three of these guys aren't really the bell cow, lead backs or anything like that. So he's not going to be able to get any consistency out of any of them. I just like Ryan's team better.
Well, who you got, Justin, to split the decision?
I'm actually going to go with Derek on this one.
Yes.
I think that Calvin and ODB, like Derek said, had a really off week. So I think they're going to come back and kill it this week, especially Calvin. And then also I think that Tyler Lockett, as Dustin would say, is trending upwards. I think he's going to be a nice little steal for them this year. So I'm actually picking Danny on this one. I do think it'll be a close matchup, and it'll be within 10 points, but I do think that Danny is going to pull out the victory.
Well, here's one thing you can't do. You can't go against the guy who cut your hair, and that's what I'm doing there. I'm not going to go against the guy who cut my hair. So.
That's fair. I'm hoping by the time I need to go back to get my hair cut that he actually forgets that I chose against him. So that'll be good. But we'll move on to Amit's and Justin's matchup. And Justin, why don't you go ahead and talk about your team or what you think is going to happen, and me and Dustin will follow suit.
I don't think that I'm going to lose this week. I mean, just based on what I scored last week, I did make a slight little tweak to the lineup. I brought in Giovanni Bernard just because it seems like that Alfred Blue's not going to be getting as many carries as I thought while he's filling in for Aaron Foster. I mean, Gronk and Antonio Brown did pretty well last week, but Terrence Williams is now the number one wideout in Dallas. Sorry, Derek. And I think that T.J. Yeldon is going to get progressively better as the season goes along. So I picked my team, and I think it'll be close. I think it'll be within 10 to 15, but I do think I'll win this week.
Well, I'm going to go against the grain here and say a meat wins. And I think the same thing is going to happen this week that happened last week. You're going to score the second or third highest points, and you're going to lose again. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be 160-something to 150-something, but I do think it'll be one of the higher scoring games, and that you lose. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, would I be surprised if it didn't and you blew him out? No, not at all, because you do have a good team. But I do think that V-Jack had a down game. And granted, he has a rookie quarterback thrown at him, but they are playing New Orleans, who isn't exactly great. And also, Justin Forsett had a down game, and they're going against Oakland, who exactly isn't great. So I think they'll be able to pick that up a little bit. Marshawn Lynch did okay there for him, but you expect a little bit more out of as well. Tyler Eifert killed for him. I don't think he'll get 33, but he'll definitely be up there in the 20s. As far as for you, like you said, you pretty much stated, is Gronk and Antonio Brown went berserko. I don't see Gronk putting up that type of effort again this year. Now, he'll still have his good point days, in your 20s and stuff. Same way with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown will probably have some 30-point games this year. I just don't think it'll happen this week against San Francisco. But like I said, I got a meat win in this one. It'll make for fun news for the league and for the podcast next week if that happens. So
well, look, 5 for 5. Right, I'm going against Derek here. I think Justin is going to win, and it's all because of who his stars are. I'm looking at Meat's team, and yeah, he doesn't have any stars on his team. Nobody that's going to get you excited or get you 30 points like Gronkowski did, like Antonio Brown can. Matt Ryan had a subpar week in comparison to what Matt Ryan usually does. Like you talked about, Terrence Williams being the number one guy in an offense where Tony Romo will find a receiver in the end zone. I mean, Dez Bryant was – I know Terrence Williams is no Dez Bryant, but Terrence Williams can fill in very nicely, against Philadelphia, who allowed Julio Jones to do whatever they wanted last week.
Well, Terrence Williams, I agree he is the number one now. He's not a very reliable number one. He drops a lot of balls. So the security blanket that is Jason Witten is probably going to play really well until Bryant comes back or Romo finds someone different. So I don't know. Since we're 5 for 5, let's move on to the last but not least matchup, and Krevin and Sonye. And go ahead, go first.
I do think it would be funny going back to Justin's matchup if he lost to the two Brown guys the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm not sure anybody has lost to back-to-back Indians. So
that may be true. I don't think anybody has. It'd be great if the champion did that to start off the season, and you have to drink a whole gallon of milk if he did lose to them both.
Humble milk, of course.
Huh?
Humble milk.
That's right. Humble chocolate milk is what it should be called.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and talk about the next game. I do think Sanjay is going to start out 2-0 here. Keenan Allen is obviously going to be a big part of the offense. As long as he stays healthy, everything's going to be good to go there. Demaryius Thomas isn't going to have as bad a game as he had last week. DeAndre Hopkins is a huge part of their offense. The bad part there is I think they're talking about switching quarterbacks this week. Not sure it really matters either way. They're both kind of the same quarterback. But
it's happening. Ryan Mallett's the starter.
Okay, Ryan Mallett is the starter. But I'm going with Sanjay this week to start out 2-0. Krevin Emalt is going to be 0-2.
Well, looks like we're going 5 for 6. I'm going with Sanjay as well. Basically for the reasons that you stated. He does have better stars. Kevin's team's old. I mean, just look at it. I mean, Tom Brady can still get it done, but he's old, right?
Right.
Larry Fitzgerald, you're old. Get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Smith Sr., if you got senior in your name, you're owed. Roddy White, owed. Stevie Johnson's not owed, but he didn't play. I don't know, he played well last week. He was just on the bench, so that's his one bright thing. But he has a lot of old people on his team.
Too.
I don't know how old he is. I could have made up something, but they'll be like, oh, stat check, do that, touch, chop, chop.
Well, Stevie Johnson has been in the league a while, but I mean, Deshaun Jackson been in the league a while. I know what you're saying. He's got a lot of old players, and he still doesn't have Le'Veon Bell back over there, so he's in trouble.
Yeah, so he's in trouble. So that's, like I said, that's why I think the famous Saunier is going to pull off the win, and he will be 2-0 to start the season. Justin?
I agree with both of you guys. We'll make it a clean sweep.
Hey.
I do think Chris thought it was 2011 when he drafted his team because he has a lot of old players on his team. So, I mean, not to spend too much longer on it, but I do think that that it's going to be pretty favorable for Sanjay to win this matchup.
All right, well, there you have it. There's our Week 2 matchup overview. And good luck to all the competitors involved. And we'll see how the chips lie and who will win and who will start the season 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see how it plays out. But let's go ahead and move on to injuries. There were some injuries this week.
I got this here.
Huh?
Go ahead, Justin.
I said, did somebody in Dallas get hurt this week? I didn't know what happened. Did somebody get hurt?
Okay, so I'm going to put my Danny hat on here. And Des Bryant got hurt. For one, he got dehydrated like the second quarter, first quarter maybe, second quarter, dehydrated. How, as a professional athlete, leading into the opening game of the season in a dome, nonetheless, the roof was not open. How do you get dehydrated?
Dehydration is when you have a lack of fluids in your body.
Okay, so that's how he got dehydrated. Did you say lack of food or fluid?
Fluids.
I still didn't understand you, but okay. But yeah, so, but it doesn't matter. He took a whole bag of fluid to get rehydrated, should I say? A whole bag. That's a lot. That is a lot. But yeah, then he ended up hurting his foot, which I didn't see it happen when it happened. I don't know if it was just a normal running a route. Maybe you can enlighten us on that, or someone can, on how that went down.
I cannot actually enlighten you on that, but what I can enlighten you on is Jerry Jones came out today and said that it was going to take a full 6 weeks for the ankle to heal, or for the injury to heal, and that the surgery went well.
He's going to be out. Look, here's the thing. I got to keep him, right? Because if he's out 12 weeks, that puts us right at week 1 for our playoffs, where he would come back. And, of course, I would have to play him at that particular point in time.
But you would make the playoffs, which you've never done. So I wouldn't actually worry about that.
I have made the playoffs.
You've made the playoffs.
I think. I think I have. Yeah, no, you have made it.
Yeah, Derek made the playoffs with all the Angels.
No, that was last year. I didn't make the playoffs last year.
No, you just were playing with the Angels, and you thought you were in the playoffs.
Okay. All right, well, we're moving on.
I do have some other injuries to announce.
Go ahead. Mike's all yours.
Thank you.
Go for it.
So Victor Cruz may not return until week 4. Not sure if it even matters. Not sure if he'll even come back to the player that he once was, but we're talking about he may not return until at least week 4, so that can be a big blow. I did see that Todd Gurley, and Mike Evans both practiced today, so if they're practicing this early in the week, odds are they're going to be playing on Sunday. And want to bring up one last guy that is on Danny's must-have list every year, and that's Brandon Pettigrew. And he was listed on the injury report. I just wanted to let Danny know that.
Well, there's a lot of people that are questionable. I mean, I was just looking at Kyle's team here, and he's got Randall Cobb, T.Y. Hilton, and Mike Evans are all questionable for this week. And if that's the case, he's not looking good at all against Trevor. But, I mean, questionable doesn't mean anything. You know, if they miss Wednesday practice, it happens a lot, right? If they're limited or whatever the case may be, it happens a lot. And before you know it, come Thursday or Friday, they're like, hey, look at this. I'm all better with this extra day off. I just, whatever the case may be. So,
did you hear Peyton Manning's interview? Because he showed up on the injury report.
Oh, did he?
He was unaware that he was on the injury report, and so they asked him about it. and he was in a press conference, and he talked to all the people there, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to do like a press conference injury report on you guys, and he started just dogging everybody. Maybe Trevor can get that soundbite for us and put it in.
Yeah, that's asking for way too much. You got to let him know in advance. And B, I think they have to fill out a certain amount of injury reports, right? Like, or not injury reports, but people that are on the injury list. There's got to be a minimum. There's no maximum, obviously, but there's got to be a minimum. So there's always going to be someone on the injury report.
I believe in making that up too.
That's I'm not making it up, but you know what you can do?
What can I do?
Google it.
Yeah, I will.
Google's your friend. Justin, do you have any injuries that someone may need to look out for? Or
No, I do not.
okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to the waivers. Now, I don't know if y'all have looked at the waivers or not. I definitely have, going off of my team. But there were some people out there that had really good week ones that were picked up, like Bubby got Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is a good pickup. I had him on my list of people that I wanted because he looked really good in that offense, did he not?
Yeah, he did. I mean, the fact that not only did he get 70 yards receiving on 7 receptions, but he also got 50 rushing yards. I mean, that's pretty awesome. 120 total yards. You'll take that every week.
Yeah, that offense is meant for him. Like, he's going to be the main go-to guy, I feel like. I mean, I know they like to use him on third downs a lot, or at least they did in the beginning. But I just don't see how you can go away from him with that fast-paced offense or what they're wanting to do as far as spreading the field out. Just it's not LaShawn McCoy's cup of tea.
Well, and a no-huddle situation, too. I mean, you can be on the field for 3, 4, 5 plays in a row, and the ball will go to him a couple times, out of those plays. So he's definitely going to get some usage.
For sure, but I got a couple people off of the waivers, that I put in there. I got Benjamin Cunningham.
There's no R.
Yeah, there is. Jermaine Kearse and Nate Washington, which this is just what I need for.
There's no R in Washington either.
There is. There's one there too. Just to get me through for a couple weeks until Foster and Gurley come back. And I'll probably keep one of them until Bryant comes back next year. But there were some good people. Justin, did you pick anyone up?
I picked up Jordan Reed. Seems like he's going to be catching a lot of balls, especially with Deshaun Jackson out. So I picked him up, and I'm actually going to put him in the starting lineup this week over Yeldon, I believe.
That's probably not a bad idea. How long is D-Jack out?
They say I've heard at least 3 to 4 weeks, but I don't know.
Well, that's unfortunate.
We'll have to back that later.
You guys are never going to believe this, but Ryan Cornell added Chris Johnson. I think Ryan Cornell only has about 7 players he drafts every year. And this time he didn't draft him, but he was on the waiver wire to pick him up. He couldn't wait. He was just like, oh yeah, Chris Johnson's going to start next week. I'm going to pick him up.
If anything happened that any team ever signed Wes Welker, Ryan would pick Wes Welker in a heartbeat.
This is true. And if David Lee ever became a tight end or something like that, he would get David Lee. He loves David Lee in our NBA league.
Don't forget Monte Ellis.
Monte Ellis too.
He loves them. Yeah, we all have our favorite players. I mean, it's no.
But usually it's like superstars. I love Julio Jones. That's because he's phenomenal. Okay. You love Jimmy Graham. That's because he's phenomenal. But then Ryan likes these players who are just mediocre at best.
Listen, I don't know if you know this, but Derek did get the steal of the draft with Jimmy Graham. I don't know if you know, but he got him for 37. Steal of the draft.
That was not a steal. The steal of the draft was Greg Olson for 25. Just saying.
Oh yeah, because he put up whopping numbers the first week. Good job on that one. Good call on the steal of the draft for 25. Hey, pay $12 more and you can get the best tight end in the league, arguably. Now, Gronk is up there, but
it's not arguable.
No, it is. But so how much did Gronk go for?
39.
39?
Yeah, that's a better deal.
That's not a better deal. They're both there. I just said you could argue who's number 1 and number 2, or if you say Gronk is better than Jimmy Graham, is he just that much better? Where Jimmy Graham's $37 is super overinflated.
In the systems that they're in with the quarterbacks that they have, yes. I mean,
Jimmy,
the only hot take that you've ever had is Jimmy Graham is better than Gronk. You couldn't have been more wrong there. You need to come up with some better hot takes.
Okay, moving on. If you don't have anybody on waivers, it's like I said. I know some people need to pick up. The first week it's usually hot. The waivers are. They kind of die down after that, depending on injuries or whatnot. So, but they're always key to pick up. It seemed like last year the running back was the hot spot to pick up from the waivers. So it'd be interesting to see what spot plays heavy for this year, if it is the running back, wide receiver, or tight end. It'll probably be wide receiver since there's been a lot of injuries in that position.
Yes, I agree.
All right, well, we're going to take one more small break here real quick, and we'll be right back with you. And we are back, and everyone in here thinks they're on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. With that.
I feel like I was watching Sex and the City or something.
Or it could be that. I've never watched that, so if you think that sounds like that, then go for it.
Hey, it's a good show.
Hey, if you say so. I'm not judging, Romo. Now, normally at this particular point in time, we would do a 50-second drill.
I have 5 questions.
You do have 5 questions?
Of course, I was prepared.
Well, good, because I'm going to make mine up from the top of my head, because I just chalked that up as a loss. Because Chad didn't tell me that the replacement, or excuse me, not Chad, but the person that I will try to remain nameless, told me that you were going to be the fill-in at like 3:30 this afternoon, and I was doing work stuff, so I couldn't get the questions. But I'll go off of you, and if I repeat one of yours or say one of yours, then yours got to make something up. But Justin, this is basically where we ask you questions. Try to do about 5 questions each, and it's for 50 seconds, and you got to answer them as quick as possible. So just let us know when you're ready, and we'll go ahead and start. Bubby, you go ahead and start.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. What is your favorite flavor of milk?
Oh, it's definitely skim.
Do you like your milk warm or cold when eating humble pie?
Ice cold.
Okay, why did you leave money on the table at the draft?
That's a good question. I just didn't do a good enough job drafting. That's the only thing I can say. I did. There was a couple.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was my impersonation of you on the video?
I put it at a 7.5. There was a couple other imitations I enjoyed more.
Okay, besides your own, who has the best team?
I really like. Give me just 1 second.
If you could color your hair gray or black, which one would you do completely?
Gray.
If you didn't have any Angry Orchards to drink, what would you drink?
Hey, not your dad's root beer. Hello.
That's good stuff.
If you could drink any drink besides those two, what would you drink?
Water.
How much weight have you lost?
29 pounds.
21 pounds.
How much does each one of your thighs weigh?
10.5 pounds apiece.
You have the skinniest thighs ever. 10.5 pounds each. Where's the rest of the weight come from?
My dick.
Okay. Moving on. You passed the 350-second drill. Congratulations. You did it with flying colors.
He did miss out on one question. So if we can go back to that, just so we can get his opinion. Besides your own, who has the best team?
I do really like Sanjay's team. Not because he beat me, but I do really like his team.
Ouch. That hurts. That hurts all of us when you say that.
Sorry, man. I think he has a good roster up and down.
Well, that's sad. But let's move our last one before we move to our roundtable. And this is for the Bold Start Dumb Bench. Bold Start.
Dumb Bench.
And the other person was going to have a bold start, so I did not look that up.
I've got it, of course.
Huh?
I've got it, of course.
You do? Okay, well, good. Who do you have?
I actually have Danny started Tevin Coleman, the running back in Atlanta. I thought that was an extremely bold start considering not only he's a rookie running back in a passing offense, but that he was going to be splitting carries with somebody else. So I thought that was an extremely bold start on week 1 for Danny.
Well, that sounds like a good one. Mine was Ryan Cornell. And you're going to say, what? I'm going to say, yep, Peyton Manning starting over Carson Palmer. And you're going to say, what? And I'm going to say, yep, because Peyton Manning got him 1 point. Carson Palmer got him a lot more than 1 point. Now, normally you would not start Carson Palmer over Peyton Manning. But in this situation, there was really no dumb benches because everyone started everyone accordingly. Obviously, you're playing your best players, and there's no one that's really trending upwards because it's week 1. But when Carson Palmer gives you 36 points and he's on your bench and you lose by, I don't know if you put 36 points in there. You tell me. 111 plus 36, what is that? It's 147.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
he
I don't
lost.
know why you're talking like that. What kind of accent is that?
Bubby, I don't know. I make stuff up as I go. You know this.
Yeah, I do. You need to work on whatever accent. Actually, let's find out what accent that is and see if you can get any better at it.
It's 147. I don't know. I think I had this movie just going on in my head. It wasn't Brother, Where Art Thou?
Was it New Orleans down in the ghetto?
No, it could be. I don't know what movie it's from. There's one right off the top of my head that I can't think of.
That's a good story, bro.
It is a good story. But anyway, so that's the dumb bench on that. That obviously would have won him the game if he started him. But like I said, I don't think anybody in their right mind would have done that. Maybe besides Kevin. Kevin may have done that. But anybody else, I don't think they would have done that. But that's, like I said, everyone else started as they should. You started accordingly. It's not like they just put someone in or pick someone up. Maybe in week 2 or 3 or so on, they could be able to have one. But week 1, everyone starts their best players or who's thought to be the best player, and that's the way it goes.
When Kevin was last paying attention to the league, Jay Cutler was the quarterback of Denver, and Kurt Warner was the quarterback of Arizona. So I could see where Kevin would have started Kurt Warner over Jay Cutler there.
If that's even remotely true, A, good job on your part, and B, that is true. That probably would be the last time. So, but that's our bold start dumb bench. Don't be a dumb bench. And start somebody that's not bold. I don't know where to go with that. Don't care. Moving on to our roundtable topics. It's open mic. You ask any questions, anything about anyone, any topic, football, non-football related.
Well, does anybody realize that we're a month and a half away from basketball season starting? I don't know if your wives are as excited as my wife, but she's so excited about all this sports happening.
Okay, so you tried your own with Danny, an NBA podcast. How did that go?
Did not go very well, and I'm going to blame this all on Danny. At first I was going to take half the blame, but then I thought about it for a really long time. I'm going to put it all on Danny. Danny's kind of lazy. Even though he gets up at 4:30 in the morning, goes, works out or whatever, when it comes to technology and starting things, Danny's like, yeah, why don't you do this? Hey, why don't you do this? And I'm like, motherfucker, why don't you do it?
He is lazy. I'll tell you, because he takes his stuff to the dry cleaner to get pressed when he has an ironing board at home. Save yourself some money.
You know something I've just noticed?
What?
That both the brothers Robinson have terrible ideas and want to do stupid podcasts about sports that nobody wants.
I also noticed that last year during the podcast, Derek decided to jack off Derek Jeter, and now Dustin's talking about basketball. This is a football podcast, guys.
This is the round table. Did you know?
This is open mic.
Open mic about basketball? This is a football podcast.
Well, what do you want to talk about, King?
Well, we can talk about how you're under 500 for your career in this league. You're 18 and 21. Are you going to get better this year?
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I appreciate that response, Derek. I approve this message.
Yeah, I think I get over the snide here. Honestly, well, I'll go ahead and retract this right now. I'm going to try to stay humble this year. Humble pie. I don't talk about myself ever.
I think Derek has watched The Negotiator too many times. Because when he's doing this podcast, all he ever says is, well, let me see what I can do. We'll just have to wait and see.
But I'm not Farley.
Yeah, we're watching The Negotiator one too many times here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do, Danny. Yeah, you like wearing tutus. Yeah.
This is going down in the hill in a hurry.
Yeah, most of this is getting cut out, I'm sure. Trevor will be like, nope, that's garbage.
Hey, if it's Cherry Hill, then there's just that one time.
Every time, just one time.
One time. That's football related. Does that count?
That is.
Count, and we can always bring up Little Giants.
Oh,
The
convenient.
next Fitty podcast, this is seriousness. You should ask for like top 5 greatest football movies. There you go. That's something cool to talk about.
Let's talk about it right now. This is the
It's open table. Go ahead, knock it out. Top 5.
Rudy's number 1.
Rudy
was offsides. Just ask Chad.
Rudy's up there. Here you go. This is in no particular order. Rudy, The Replacements, Remember the Titans, Little Giants, and
Varsity Blues.
There you go. Varsity Blues. That would actually be up there.
Yeah, you were with me until you said Replacements. I hate that movie. It's fucking god awful.
Are you kidding me? Clifford Franklin?
It's the worst movie ever made.
Clifford Franklin is like a cold.
He looks like
coming down with it.
Coach. He looks like a jacked off an elephant.
It's great. You can quote it for days.
Well, there's a movie that you guys forgot about. What about The Longest Yard?
The new one or old one?
The new one, Adam Sandler.
Nope, didn't forget about it.
Yeah, it was like the other stuff Adam Sandler does or has done in the previous 10 years, and it's not good.
Any Given Sunday?
Any Given Sunday is good.
Jerry Maguire?
Is that a football movie?
I'm not going to go with that one as a football movie.
I concur with Dustin Strange. I'm not going to label that as a football movie.
But if you don't, can you label Rudy as a football movie? Because,
because it's about a Notre Dame football player, yes.
But is it? He's also doing other things during that time. He's going to college. He's trying to appease his father.
Keanu Reeves is doing other things like scraping barnacles off a boat.
That's real life stuff. There's some players, real life football players, that have summer jobs.
Yeah, they're poor with managing money.
Exactly. That's what he did.
Is there any other movies that we can think of?
I'm sure there is. But those are the top ones, right? Those are the ones that are on TV. You'll watch them.
I think I remember the time. Well, how about the Blind Side?
The program.
God, I hate The Blind Side. The program. There you go, Latimer.
Latimer starting defense.
But Stomp the Yard.
What's the one with the dude?
What's going on here?
Oh my god.
The one with the dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Moving on.
This is getting edited out.
Okay, no, it's not because it's
we can only hope.
Stuff. Trevor won't edit shit anymore. He just goes and just posts it to YouTube and says, "Have at it."
Trevor barely hits the record button.
Yeah, he barely did. Oh, guys, go start all over again. Here we go. First record.
Was he goofy?
Yeah.
The Water Boy. Hold on, there's one we forgot. The Water Boy.
Yeah, that is good. The Water Boy is good. Well, you know, I'm gonna come on over here. You know, huh?
Unnecessary Roughness.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
I don't think I've seen that one. Who's in that one?
That's in his name like
Scott Bakula.
There you go.
Justin.
Like late 80s, early 90s.
Kathy Ireland was the kicker. She was hot.
Yeah. 9 out of 10.
What about Anne Hathaway?
Oh, she's number 1 on the list, right in front of Linda Hamilton, apparently.
Yeah, you're weird on some of this stuff, man.
The second one was made up. Danny tries to embellish that one, but Anne Hathaway is hot. Trevor agrees with me. Applaud on this, Trevor.
Don't do it, Trevor. It's a trap. Thank you.
Trevor Bailey, son of a bitch.
Has anybody seen Johnny Be Good?
No.
Johnny Be Good?
Johnny Be Good, late 80s.
That
Hey,
movie.
what was the dude, the young kid who got picked on in high school? He tried out for the football team.
Invincible?
No. He lived under a bridge.
Lucas.
Lucas, is that a football movie?
It's borderline.
That
I
was
think
claim
we're-
to fame.
I think we're digressing now.
We have been
Oh,
forever.
it's been there for 30 minutes, buddy.
It was there when we started this thing.
Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap up the roundtable, and let's move on to the errors and stat corrections. Justin, do you have something for us?
Yes, I got a few. We'll start out with from the Tree Fitty second drill. Correction for Justin, you had selected skim as your favorite flavor of milk. Skim's a type, not a flavor.
It did. You should save that for last. This is the best one. You can't top that.
2013, you actually did make the playoffs, but then you lost to Chris Brock by 61.
Oh,
Ouch.
And then with your 75% tight ends receiving on the touchdowns, yeah, that's way wrong. There were 19 touchdowns caught by wide receivers and 22 touchdowns by tight ends.
yeah. See, there you go. 70%.
Okay. No.
I know numbers are hard, but no.
80%.
I think if you take 22 and divide it by 19, it's like 0.7 something. I don't know.
Justin,
22 divided by 19, that would be 1.157.
There you go.
There's a 7 in there.
That's all I needed. Justification. All right. Well, does anyone want to? Justin, do you have any last words?
No, thanks for having me on. I definitely appreciate it, and I look forward to listening to a better edited version when Trevor gets done with it tomorrow.
It's not happening. He's going to go stop, and then he's going to go post to YouTube. So,
You're not giving enough credit.
Bubby, I appreciate you coming on in late notice since the other person is in negotiation of his contract, and I had to temporarily suspend him from the podcast. So you did a really good job. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. I feel like I'm the Jay Billis of this podcast.
Yeah, you're definitely not as entertaining. He's pretty hilarious and better looking, but he has better style. Let me put it that way. He has better style.
Okay.
Jay Billis has impeccable style. But that would be it. Trevor, thanks again for recording this and posting this for us. Strange, as always, thank you for the stat corrections and your 2 cents when you put it in. And that will conclude our Tree Fitty Week 2 podcast. Please join us again next week. It'll be the same time, same location, maybe with a few different guests. In the meantime, be you, and good luck this weekend.